Yeah, and with the new inflation numbers that just came out, 2.9%. So a $100 bill is worth $97 or $98.10, plus the new global debt numbers, $250 quadrillion in new global debt. Yet there's only 4 people showing up to the meetup groups. I know. Okay, let me let you go. I'll talk to you soon. All right, bye. So what do you guys think about that? I don't know if you heard, but 2.9% in inflation from 1 year previous in June 2018, plus $250 quadrillion, $250 trillion in new global debt numbers. The interest in Bitcoin has been very, very low. We've seen a little bit of a spike in the price and the market cap. There's a lot going on, a lot that you're not being told. Let's discuss. Hey everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr., you're you, and together we are Minting Coins, your trusted source for crypto news, interviews, and ICO reviews. Thank you for showing up. Hit that like button, subscribe if you are not subscribed already. There is a lot happening, a lot going on, and while we are delivering information, giving you as much news as we can, there's just nobody out there who can keep up with the different levels of information and education that so many people are going to require, right? Even if you've been in this space for quite some time and you've been through maybe at least 1 or 2 bull, or maybe just 1 bull market and 1 bear market, then you've probably learned a lot in the past year and a half, even the past few months in the crypto space. But what's going on is that we are reaching this point of acceleration where more and more is going to happen, you know, in my opinion, in the next 6 months in crypto than has happened in the entire 9.5 years previous from this point today. And with that being said, with all that information that's being put out there, that information is coming out to you from independent sources, from independent media, from independent Reddit and Twitter and different social media outlets out there. Maybe you're also on steemit.com. But there's also information coming out of Bloomberg. There's consistent information coming out of CNBC. And with the different outlets that put out that information, at the top of that food chain are the people who are have this massive amount of centralized power, these news outlets, these technological companies, these different leaders of industry that have all of this control across these platforms, these networks of users, which has made them so rich, their companies so rich, their stocks so valuable. But as we're going to see in this show, there's just a lot of unease. There is a lot of uncertain in the traditional financial markets. And for anyone that understands what this means, you would recognize that this is definitely a precarious time. This is definitely an interesting time. And you know, with that, some say chaos is a ladder. And there may be an opportunity to help yourself, to help your community, and to at least share in this information of what's happening on this global scale. So with all that being said, let's start diving into the interwebs and let's discuss. So first off, for all of my loyal viewers out there, the few hundred of you that exist right now to this point, I really want to thank you. And you know, there's thousands of others which have really given me a lot of support and a lot of encouragement moving forward. We really appreciate the engagement rate of the number of people who are liking our videos versus the number of total views that we get, and you know, the comments that we get across all social media. It's really encouraging for the feedback that we get in the form of emails and likes and shares online. And you know, at the same time, we're doing this service, we're trying to figure out how to make money, but you know, we're just having these meetups where we can bring people together, and we're producing these videos just to give people a greater you know, a breadth and depth of context in terms of what's happening in crypto and the blockchain industry as it relates to global financial infrastructure, global political regulatory infrastructure, and you know, my interpretation of that as a technologist and someone who has created technology systems, marketing, business, conversion systems that really do a lot more beneath the surface than the general user recognizes and realizes. So with this time, just a personal note, it's been really fulfilling just spending time with the kids and getting married this summer, and just really excited about what's happening moving forward, what's happening right now. Really excited about all of the connections that we've made with people, the community that we've built with so many people up to this point. And so even with the discouragement of a lot of the things that are happening online, with the censorship that we hear on our YouTube channel, Minting Coins, that we've talked about this before, we have modern day book burnings, which used to look like one thing, and it used to be very physical and very visible. And because of that, people had a tangible connection with what that meant to see books burning in the street, if you were physically there, or if you heard about that, or if you saw those photos. And now it's been really hard for people to catch on what's happening in the digital space of shadow, blacklisting, where people can be blacklisted without, their account necessarily being deleted, or people's visibility being, negatively affected, censored, lowered in terms of their ability to be seen in front of more people because of the algorithms and because of the weights that are put on these viewers. And so more and more people, we think, are seeing this, more and more people are recognizing this, and we really appreciate you, we really appreciate where we are so far. To that effect of the outreach that we've done and the connections that we've built, and a little bit of education and understanding that we've brought to people, and we continue to provide people with the past video content and the future work that we're doing physically in IRL, as well what we're doing digitally online. We want to pay it forward, and we really want to make sure that inside this space, one of the major issues, one of the major concerns that a lot of people should be aware of is Ross and free Ross. And this particular petition to bring Ross Ulbricht home, for him to receive clemency, because right now he's serving a double life sentence for running a website. He didn't hurt anybody, he didn't sell any drugs, he didn't directly do anything illegal. All he did was create a website, and this website was used by people who were breaking the law. And to that effect, because he was the first person, the pioneer in this space, because he made the government look bad, that he was difficult to find, he was difficult to locate. And if you look into the backstory of what has happened with Ross, you would realize that the process, the due process and the procedure, as well as the sentence versus the crimes that he actually committed, is just unjust, it is unbalanced, and really deserves the attention of anybody who respects the revolutionary aspect of this industry, that respects the groundwork and the foundation of everything that has been built around us, of which so many people are now taking advantage of this infrastructure and this new system of decentralized cryptocurrency, and people regaining their sovereignty, people regaining who they are, what they represent internally for themselves to the world, without complete invasion of privacy over every thought and personal concern that someone has. So Ross is just an example, was made an example of, and he is now an example of someone who helped push this industry forward, and really deserves everyone's 30 seconds of attention to click on this link in the show notes below and to fill out this petition, to follow Free Ross on Twitter, to follow the story, and to make sure that you're getting those updates and you're sharing the same information of bringing justice for Ross Ulbricht. Moving back into the crypto industry specifically, Charlie Lee has tweeted something recently that I've been saying for a long time now. And that is that there's never going to be more than these 21 million Bitcoins that are coded into the original Bitcoin, mathematical algorithm. And the original code of the Bitcoin blockchain says that there's never going to be more than 21 million Bitcoins in existence. And so there isn't enough Bitcoin BTC to go around for every millionaire that own one, since there's over 43 million millionaires who exist in the world, and there's only about 17 plus million Bitcoins right now. And knowing that some people own 10 Bitcoins or 100 Bitcoins and they're hodling those hard, not everyone is going to receive 1 Bitcoin. And so if you can have the opportunity to receive 1 whole Bitcoin versus all these other coins in the world, and as Charlie Lee says, before you buy any other coin, Litecoin included, try to own at least 1 Bitcoin first. Once you have 1 Bitcoin, buy all the other coins that you want to buy after that, because when the ETFs come out, the Bitcoin ETFs, and institutional investors come in, they're going to be able to say which is going to be the new Bitcoin. Is it going to be Bitcoin, or is it going to be Ethereum? Is it going to be Bitcoin, or is it going to be Fedcoin? Is it going to be Bitcoin, or is it going to be Facebook coin? Is it going to be Bitcoin, or is it going to be Jeff Bezos Amazon coin? Nobody really knows. There's a lot of options out there. SDR. There's who knows what's going to happen, and who knows what is going to be the #1 most dominant coin. With that being said, in the Bitcoin space, when these Bitcoin ETFs open up, it's very clearly focused on Bitcoin. It was the first, it was the most secure, and in this massive global decentralized gamification world, as the meme points out, we've looked into the future 14,605 times, and the number of futures where Bitcoin didn't succeed was 0. And just keep a huge focus on this. Be very careful about being parted from you and your Bitcoin, because let's be serious here. With the market capitalization that exists, and if we pop over to the coin market cap to take a peek what's going on, the total market capitalization of Bitcoin is only $127 billion, 100,000 million billion dollars. That's $0.12 trillion. And if they were to open up a Fed coin, if they were to open up a Facebook coin or an Amazon coin, then what could happen here is that they could instantly open up a Fed coin with a market capitalization of what? Trillions of dollars. And if they, limited the total number of supply, they can easily make it so, a Fed coin that instantly appeared, or even an Amazon coin, with Amazon being worth, $1 trillion, or Apple being worth $1 trillion, if they instantly came on the scene and there were only going to be 21 million, Amazon coins, then each of those Amazon coins right now would instantly be worth $74,000, and then the market capitalization would dwarf Bitcoin. So without going on too much of a tangent here, we live in a world where everyone is focused on dollars. Everyone is focused on, just the Benjamins in the bank account, the Benjamins in their wallet, the Benjamins that are stuffed in the mattress in their bed. And as we see from reports coming here from throughout the world, and CNBC, global debt hits a new record of $247 trillion. That's about 247, a quarter of a quadrillion dollars in global debt, which is just an astronomical amount of debt out there in the world. And this debt and the derivatives that are based off of this debt is just, insurmountable amount of kinetic energy that can rain down upon Bitcoin right now, which by comparison is just 0.1 trillion of, when the new global debt record is a quarter of a quadrillion dollars. At the same time, as we talked about, the inflation rate hitting 2.9%, so let's just call it 3%, why not? And so if you had $100 in a bank account, $100 is now worth $97. That now has $97 of buying power in 1 year. So say you got a 3% raise, which nobody gets a 3% raise, but if you got a 3% raise, then you're barely doing better. You're able to simply keep up and buy just as much, in food and purchasing power as a year before. and it's just not right that people have to work harder and harder and harder year after year for less and less. And Bitcoin fixes this. Bitcoin is the opposite of this, because Bitcoin is not inflationary. Bitcoin is deflationary. And in 2 years, when 2020 comes, and the bankers know this, the institutional investors are learning this, they understand market principles enough, they understand the rules of Bitcoin more and more every day. When the Bitcoin halving happens in less than 2 years, in about May 2020, then whatever Bitcoin you own is essentially worth twice as much, because the supply gets cut exactly in half, from 12.5 right now to 6.25. They're going to be very, very volatile times. So buckle up. And don't forget, all of this news is connected. Just a week or two ago, the SEC stated that they're going to be making a decision regarding the ETF before August 10th, could be before September 24th. Exactly what it says is that within 45 days of the publication of this notice to Federal Register, or within that period, up to 90 days, they're going to let us know if this ETF from either the CBOE or another ETF, other ETFs, are going to be approved. This is going to be dramatic in the space. This is going to, if the exchange consents, by order of the commission, to, if they approve this rule, is going to allow huge amounts of institutional money to come in. It's going to allow huge amounts of regulation to be defined. And that regulation being defined, what does that do? That creates certainty for the big money. That creates certainty for these businesses. That creates certainty for the capital that can come in to have the trust that the governments aren't going to come and take it away from them. That the people at the top are going to be protected at their institutional levels, at their accredited investor levels, and that the regulations that come out are not going to affect them, they're not going to affect their shareholders, and they're not going to affect the owners of the money for which they manage. So the SEC comes out, they say that they're going to be giving a decision regarding these Bitcoin ETFs. They're also going to be giving more and more clarity on other coins and the ability for different US-based exchanges to understand the rules, to be offering these different cryptocurrencies, utility currencies, and then security cryptocurrencies as well. If and how they're going to be able to be offered. We saw this tweet from Coinbase that pumped Cardano, ADA, the BAT basic attention tokens, Stellar Lumens, XML, Zcash, ZEC, and 0x, ZRX. And it's really interesting to see this game being played, to understand how all of these businesses and organizations have already invested into these tokens at their ICO level or at their token distribution level, and now the groundwork is being laid so that technology companies can allow that easy facilitation of allowing everyone else in America to now finally participate into these tokens. And it's not just from the SEC and the regulatory side of things, but we also see in the news today, in fact, we have a hearing that's happening, and we're going to be bringing you information about this hearing. We're going to watch it ourselves. We may also post a full recording of it as well, so you can check it out at this channel. But this is the hearing entitled "The Future of Money, Digital Currency." This is big news. I'm sure this is going to make big news. We have some heavy hitters who are going to be joining. People from the University of California, Santa Barbara, people from the Heritage Foundation, Cornell University, right in our backyard of, outside Rochester, New York, and then a senior fellow at Arch Street Institute. And so this is going to be, I believe, the monetary subcommittee in the United States Congress. And if we take a peek over here at the memorandum of what's going on at the shindig, with the members of the Committee on the Financial Services Subcommittee on Monetary Policy and Trade hearing entitled "The Future of Money, Digital Currency." This hearing is going to be examining to the extent to which the United States government should consider cryptocurrencies as money and the potential for domestic and global uses of these cryptocurrencies. The subcommittee will evaluate the merits of any uses by central banks, hello everybody, of these cryptocurrencies and discuss the future for both cryptocurrencies and physical cash, right? So let's really take that in for a second, that this hearing here with the Committee on Financial Services, this Subcommittee of Monetary Policy and Trade, they are going to be examining to the extent that the United States government and central banks should integrate both cryptocurrencies and physical cash in our future moving forward. This is just very, very interesting. We're very excited to follow this hearing when this comes out and to share the details with you in a very near episode. So at this point, I'd just love to know, what do you think? What do you think about inflation being 2.9%? What do you think about global debt being $247 trillion? What do you think about the fact that no one is even talking about Bitcoin and the ramifications of what's being happened in terms of the base layer infrastructure that these corporations and regulators are talking about? These technologists and cyberpunks are also talking about it. But the cypherpunks, are really focused on the technology. They're really focused on the coding. They're really focused on, their decentralized infrastructure. But to that extent, the information of what they're doing, the application of what they're doing, that information is not reaching mass users. It's not reaching mass adoption. But that's where I can tell you that people in the background, marketers and business leaders who believe in this decentralized aspect of what's going on, and when I say decentralized, I'm talking about true open blockchain technology, where it really has visibility, it really has accountability, it really has distribution across all the players in the space in a way that doesn't allow any one person to gain control or to take advantage of the system. More and more, I want people to realize that Bitcoin may not be the #1 token, the #1 blockchain in terms of the total market capitalization. It's definitely going to happen that some coin is going to pop onto the scene and it will be a bigger digital cryptocurrency than Bitcoin. And just because there's a bigger digital currency than Bitcoin, in terms of the measure of the market cap, is not going to make it necessarily the best, is not necessarily going to make it the most ubiquitous, the most used, the most relevant, the most revolutionary blockchain out there at all. So with that being said, if you have any questions about open blockchain, or are you just here for the money? Those are questions that you really want to ask yourself and you really want to focus on, because if you're just here for the money and then someday the power of Bitcoin really shines, then that's going to be your ownership of this network that you're not going to be a part of, right? And so it's really important at this point in the game to understand this technology, to educate yourself in this technology, and to check out the petition in the show notes below to help gain clemency for Ross Ulbricht. All right, so with that being said, sorry for all the train noises and the motorcycle noises and the plane noises. We located here downtown Rochester, New York, and just enjoying this beautiful summer day, just enjoying checking out the news, information, bringing you some of that, sharing that with you that we have going on. And with that being said, like this video, continue engaging, continue commenting, continue sharing your thoughts with us, because I'm glad that together we can be minting coins.